So, Shannon, how big of a problem do you have with this?
Skip, why is everyone taking this documentary about Michael Jordan, The Last Dance, and using it as an opportunity to dump on LeBron? Skip, you remember when they did the documentary about Michael Jackson, This Is It. It was supposed to be his last 50 concerts, and I think it was going to take him 50 days. Upon his passing, they compiled all the behind-the-scenes footage of him rehearsing, getting ready for these shows. People didn't use that as an opportunity to take a shot at Prince. But why is everybody using this documentary to take a shot at LeBron James? I get it, David Blatt. You probably believe that the reason you lost your job in Cleveland was because of LeBron James. But what we do know about LeBron James, he's been one of the most unselfish, all-time, historically great players in the history of the game. Many rag on him for passing too much. Why would you pass that shot up to Udonis Haslem? Why would you pass that ball to Kyle Korver? Why would you pass that ball to George Hill? And now he's selfish? Wow. This thing really hurt. I can tell that David Blatt is really hurt about how it ended in Cleveland, because how you know what Michael Jordan was like? Now, it's been documented in the last one. He wasn't very fond of the triangle offense in the beginning because it was taking the ball out of his hand. We saw in the championship game in 91, their first finals, Phil Jackson had to implore him, you got to trust John Paxson. You've got to pass him the ball because they're doubling and triple teaming you. When have you ever heard somebody say that to LeBron? If anything, it's like, LeBron, you got to take that shot. You're the best player on the team. Don't be such a willing passer of the basketball. And now all of a sudden LeBron is selfish. Okay, yeah, if you mean selfish by saying, hell no, Kyrie ain't taking the last shot, I'm taking it. Yeah, he's selfish, and he should have been. That's dumb on your part. Man, this is ridiculous. And everybody, well, LeBron is the 19th greatest player of all time. LeBron wouldn't have been able to survive. This is not about LeBron. This is Michael Jordan's documentary. It's highlighting what transpired in the last season. Yes, they're going back and talking about some of the trials and tribulations that he had to overcome in order to ultimately win the championship. And it's documenting the last season, 1998. But Skip, this is enough of this bull jive now. Everybody wants to take their pound of flesh now. See, I get it. Kids that were not born or at a very young age that didn't get an opportunity to see Michael Jordan, I get that. But for all these guys that's my age, older, or at mid-40s, you know what Michael did. You didn't need this documentary. Now, maybe some of the stuff about what transpired in practice, Skip, or on the bus ride and him having to go get Dennis Rodman, I get all of that. But, Skip, you didn't need this documentary to know that Jordan was an all-time great on the court. This is ridiculous. David Blatt, go back up under your little rock. You had your opportunity, and you get it done. Ty Lue took your roster that you were going to lose again with and came from 3-1 down against a 73-win team. That's your legacy. You don't know what Michael was like. You never been around the man. All you know about, Skip, Michael Jordan globally, no question. Yeah, I'm not going to even debate that. If you want me to try to get up here and say LeBron is bigger than Michael Jordan, no way, no how. But they need to stop all this enough. Now, enough is enough. Now, I've had it up to here with this foolishness.
And I say we're just getting started. And I say thank you, God, for the Last Dance documentary, because it is opening so many younger eyes to the fact that Michael Jordan was so much better in so many ways than LeBron James. And I agree with you, it has become open season on LeBron, but it's for all the right reasons, because what has happened is, Shannon, this has become LeBron's worst nightmare. This is times 10 your worst nightmare. This is opening the eyes of the Undisputed faithful to the fact that Jordan clearly was better than LeBron. And our fans, our viewers are getting beaten over the heads with it day after day after day, enlightened over, oh yeah, Jordan did that, and he was that, and he was that, and that, and that, and that. We cannot go another day without another shot taken at LeBron, or should I say, another kudo thrown to Michael Jordan. And I just, in recent memory here, just in the last week or so, we had Michael Malone, the coach of the Denver Nuggets, take a shot at LeBron saying that he does not have the killer mentality that Jordan had. I've been saying that for what, 15 years on national TV? It's the biggest duh in the history of sports. And finally, people are awakened to the, oh yeah. And when a rival coach of a very good team in Denver goes on the record with it, you're like, yeah, okay. Now it's starting to hit home. And when Dennis Rodman, a two-time Defensive Player of the Year, and for a 5-year stretch, the best defensive player in basketball, says, yeah, I could shut down LeBron. Obviously, when Dennis was in his defensive prime, yeah, he could have, because he simplified it by saying LeBron's game is really simple. He doesn't have any moves. Yeah, he's a great driver of the basketball, but if you keep him from the rim, is he a great shooter? No, he's a below average shooter, certainly by superstar standards. And now we start to get to the intangibles.
Skip, can I just say one thing? Why does everybody got to preface everything with an if? If the ball didn't go in the basket when Steph Curry shot the three, he wouldn't be the greatest distance shooter of all time. If Shannon Sharpe had Jeff Bezos' money, he would be the world's richest man. Don't use caveats. Don't use caveats. Don't say if you keep him from the basket. That's your job. And what about Larry Bird? Cook Dennis Rodman. Do you remember, Skip? Before they got over the hill, cook Dennis Rodman. 37-99 in 87. You remember it like it was yesterday. Cooked him in the game 7. Cooked him. And he got in trouble because he said if Larry Bird was black, he would just be another guy. You remember that.
What did I tell you yesterday? Larry Bird was better than LeBron. I told you that yesterday sitting right here in this chair. I told you. Larry Bird had 30,000 moves that LeBron never dreamed of. Larry Bird was maybe as clever and creative a scorer as I can ever remember. Not as athletic as LeBron, but you want to talk about this and that and moves and shooting? Oh, Lord have mercy. He could have shot LeBron out of the gym. Now back to David Blatt's contention. Let's break it down. Intangibles. What is happening here? The first thing David Blatt said was, Michael won the most championships with one team. That's a powerful statement from a David Blatt, who, I remind everybody, is the most decorated international coach ever. Not even close. Not in the NBA, because he lasted his season in just a few games with LeBron. That was LeBron's fault. But outside of this country, around the world, where basketball is global, just check it out. David Blatt has won everything you can ever win. He's won multiple EuroLeague titles. He's won multiple EuroLeague Coach of the Years. He's won the Italy Championship, the Israel Championship, the FIBA Championship multiple times. He is an all-time great. He is the greatest coach outside the confines of the NBA. Now, Jordan won multiple championships with one team, the most. So what does that tell you about LeBron? David Blatt is saying, well, wait a second. He had to take his talents to South Beach. And then he had to, wait a second, he had to leave his best friend Dwayne Wade high and dry on South Beach and take his talents back to Cleveland to join forces with Kyrie and Kevin Love. David Blatt happened to be the first-year coach of that team. And when that ultimately didn't work out and Kyrie took his talents to Boston, then LeBron had to go Michael B. Jordan and go to Hollywood. And then he struck out in Hollywood and missed the playoffs, and his team went 28-27 in the games that he started for his first-year Lakers. And he had to power play the move of the year to get Anthony Davis to come from New Orleans to give him the help that he needs as a co-star in Los Angeles. Michael never had to do one of those things, not any of those things. Now we get to the I versus the us that David Blatt points out, and David Blatt saw it up close and personal firsthand. What have we seen? Let me go back to Kyrie that I just mentioned. What did I tell you The day Kyrie left LeBron and went to Boston, I told you that a source very close to Kyrie told me the number one reason Kyrie left was that LeBron had become more about stats than winning, more about building a resume by stat stuffing than a legacy of winning championships, because he had realized it was game over against Michael Jordan, 6-0 in the finals with 6 MVPs. So it's all about stat building and reputation building. And that's why LeBron James, even as we speak, has taken the most shots in the fourth quarter of NBA games this now abbreviated season, because he stat stuffs in blowout losses in which he stays in the game to pad his stats against bad teams. It's all he's got are accolades. He needs to lead the league in assists, finally, in his 17th year, which he is doing as we speak. What is he at, 10.6? Way to go, LeBron.
Finally.
I still call him the best passer in basketball. But hey, Michael Jordan, people forget, but their eyes are getting open now. Michael Jordan could have led the league in assists if he had chosen.
Why didn't he?
Well, how about this? Well, wait a second. How about 88, 89? He came close. He had 8 assists a game. LeBron's got 10.6 right now. Wait, Michael Jordan went a whole year while winning the scoring title and averaging 8 assists a game, and he averaged 6 assists a game for his career. LeBron's at 7.4. It's not that different. If he had focused on that, if that had won him championships, he would have led the league in assists every year. That's how gifted he was.
Hold on. Wait a second. Hold on. You talking about, well, Michael had 8, LeBron is at 10.6. Okay, now I'm going to say 3. So basically 3 assists a game is what LeBron is leading. Multiply that times 85. Okay, Michael Jordan averaged 6. LeBron is 7.5. Okay, that's basically an assist and a half to 2 assists a game. Multiply that times 82, times 17. What are you talking about? LeBron James has 3,600 more assists than Michael Jordan. Skip, nobody has ever said on his best day he could never pass the ball like LeBron James. On his absolute best day. But when I tell you, if LeBron wanted to, he could lead the league in scoring when he was in his prime. You talk about, well, why didn't he? If Michael Jordan, hold on. So you mean to tell me there was something Michael Jordan could have done and didn't do? You and I both know. If you're watching The Last Dance, Michael Jordan did what he wanted to do. He wanted to prove a point. So don't miss me with that. Michael Jordan did what he did, not diminishing that. But my thing is, Skip Bayless, I believe you can praise someone without trying to take a dump on someone else, especially when the documentary does not mention anything about LeBron. That's everybody's opportunity to come up from under the woodpile and try, and these like critters like a Michael Jackson video, Thriller. Everybody coming up out the crypt trying to take a shot at it. But don't worry about it, bro. We got this. When we resume this season, we gonna win the title. And Michael Jordan did not win the most titles at one location. Bill Russell got 11. And they're the Jones boys. And John Havlicek has more. Tom Heisen has more. So stop this notion about Michael Jordan's won more titles. And another thing, you say, well, LeBron left D-Wade high and dry. Michael Jordan gave his blessing when they traded his best friend, Charles Oakley. And you didn't say a word. He said, Charles and I was great friends. We did things together. But we were a championship caliber team and we needed Cartwright. So miss me with that all of a sudden.
I'll miss you with this. Jerry Krause had total autonomy over those Chicago Bulls, as you're seeing in this documentary. Jerry Krause had final say ultimately and did not care what Michael Jordan had to say. Michael had no input. Occasionally, Michael made suggestions. Some of them were not great suggestions because, as we've seen, Michael is not a great team builder. In fact, he might be the worst team builder in NBA history. But he was by far the greatest player ever. In fact, we're going to do another topic here in just a few minutes on the show. His agent made the point that he would have averaged 50 points a game in this day and age with the little to no defense that gets played. So there's another one we're going to talk about, but it's about David Blatt talking intangibles. What people can't come to grips with is LeBron almost on a daily basis is doing or saying something that helps undermine his team. We're top heavy as bleep. It's this, it's that. It's passive aggressive criticism of his management or his teammates on social media. Never, ever did Michael Jordan ever do any of that. Michael Jordan was all for one. It was all about the team. He drove his team. He pushed his team, but he reinforced and validated his teammates when they did great. And he drove them to give him the kind of help that wins championships, not makes you look better or takes you off the hook because you ran from last shot after last shot after last shot.
See?
Again, it's so simple. We got the mentally toughest player ever and the mentally weakest superstar ever, and it's game over. You've been exposed, you phony goat. It's over.
Skip, whoa. The man passed the ball, and for a guy to have a shot or a layup, and then you say he's running from it. Then now you say David Blatt says, well, he was selfish. Michael Jordan was about team, LeBron's about I. Skip, how do you have it both ways? He passes the ball, he's running for the last shot. He takes the shot, he's being selfish. What?
I never said he was selfish taking the last shot. I wish he'd take every last shot if he had the guts, and he doesn't have the guts. And David Blatt saw it up close and personal. Who was the coach in game 1 at Oracle? Do you remember that? No, that was the next year. How about the game 4 at Oracle? That's the one I want to talk about. Remember the one David Blatt's year? Can we talk about that game? Do you remember that one, Shannon?
No, Skip. Game 4 was back in Cleveland. The first two was in Oracle.
Yeah. Okay, David Blatt's year coaching. What happened in game 4 back in LeBron's, the King's house? The point was that LeBron played 3 games that were the greatest 3 games of his career. I've said this, I've told you this time and time again. 3 straight games in which he was sensational. What did he average in those first 3 games? He averaged 41 points a game for 3 games because he had lost Kevin Love before the finals started. Then he lost Kyrie at halftime in overtime of game 1, right? And from that point on, he was magnificent until we got to game 4. And all of a sudden, he's up 2-1 in his house against a team that doesn't have Kevin Durant yet, has not broken through and won a championship yet, and is not sure of itself yet. LeBron should have closed that deal, and trust me, I would have given him 5 standing ovations. That was the greatest moment of his career, to be able to do something really special, to actually make a run at Michael Jordan's legacy. And what happened, Shannon, in game 4?
They lost.
Yeah, what happened? Oh, did they lose? He was terrible. He shot 7 of 22 from the field. It scored only 20 points. He came up small. They could have closed the deal virtually that night to go up 3-1. That was when Iguodala was inserted in the starting lineup to guard LeBron. And he shrank and he disappeared. And they lost the next, obviously they lost 3 straight games and they were out.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.